Do not harass anyone mentioned in this video. Ignore my shitty handwriting. By the way, a content warning, if you don't want to see this stuff, click off. Hey y'all, I know I haven't been posting a lot, and I've posted a few commentary videos, but trust me, this isn't turning into a commentary channel. I just want to talk about this topic because I feel like it would be important for people to be informed about this person, or just, know about the situation in general. Today, I'm going to be talking about Goreinkz, who I'll be calling Scribble because, it's easier. They've been incorporating some interesting things in their art, let's say. They've also been creating a safe space for potential predators and have said and done very interesting things they've claimed to not support. But we'll get into that later. First, I'm going to be talking about who they are as a creator. Scribble is a furry art account who is openly a big supporter of paraphilias, and while paraphilias in general aren't bad, there tend to be some harmful ones. Objectum, for example, is when one is sexually attracted to objects. It may be weird, but it doesn't actively harm anybody, nor is it morally wrong. However, when it comes to pedophilia, maps, zoophilia, and necrophilia, those are actively harmful examples, especially if played out in real life. Also, if one has any of these harmful paraphilias but doesn't act them out in real life, that's still not okay. However, that doesn't exactly mean they need prison time, as long as their paraphilias are not openly glorified or supported and the people with them get help and therapy. But the thing is with Scribble, they seem to think that even if somebody has these disgusting paraphilias, it's fine as long as they aren't acting on it, which obviously is disgusting, even if kept in fiction. With fiction and reality, thirsting over a child, animal, or corpse, real or not, is still disgusting. And many people argue, they're not real, it's just fiction. They are still unconsenting beings that nobody under any circumstances should be fapping over. It may not be harming anyone at the moment, but morally it's disgusting, and it shouldn't be shared out. This also brings me to my next point. As you can see from the previous screenshots, Scribble clearly doesn't mind having pedophiles in their fan base or their space, which obviously is a huge problem considering that there are also probably children who are fans of them. And if you put one and one together, you could probably guess what the result is. Even if a quote-unquote non-offending pedophile says that they wouldn't reenact their actions, there are people who lie. And if you know anything about humans, you know that they're unpredictable. In short, Scribble is creating a space where pedophiles could potentially groom minors, which obviously is a horrible thing. This is also why proshipping is really bad, because proshippers do the exact same thing. I'm also gonna link a video a little more about this topic because I just like it and it goes really well into it. But yeah, I kind of forgot to mention this earlier on, but they are apparently fine with incest too, as long as anybody else doesn't give a shit. Hello? They're also saying that it doesn't hurt anybody, but there is a reason that incest is illegal. The kids of incest couples also tend to have a lot of problems throughout their life, like, obviously, like their parents being fucking related, but also, like, if you know anything about simple biology, you know that, there tend to be some mental and physical problems. Not to mention that in incestuous relationships, there is always grooming, no matter what. You can deny it all you fucking want, but there is always grooming involved. There are laws against incest for a reason. I don't even know why I'm having to explain why incest, pedophilia, and zoophilia in general are bad. It should be common sense. And no, hating pedophilia and zoophilia is not being insecure when it's literally stated everywhere. You could literally go up to some random person, they'd be like, yeah, no, that shit's disgusting. It's wrong. I'm gonna be going over the next topic, which is about the amount of suspicious things that they put in their art, and some interesting dog whistles. First, I'm gonna be going over the things in their art that I'm specifically talking about. This is one of the examples of this. You notice the color palette. It looks like a certain flag, considering that the OC is a child, a very young child at that, and its name, Lollipop, which seems very similar to something a lot of pedophiles would call little children, little girls, for example. Because if you know anything about that, pedophiles would label little girls as lollies. Another example of Scribble adding some interesting paraphilia flags to their OCs is this one, which looks very similar to the flag that children use to attract pedophiles. There are more examples of this, but these are like the main two I'm going to talk about. Usually problematic OCs aren't necessarily a problem, just as long as like the very thing they're problematic for isn't glorified or spread around as like a positive thing. Hell, I have a problematic OC myself. The thing is though, that the flags that they're representing or putting in their characters are very pro-contact flags. Usually the kinds that people use to try to fit into LGBTQ spaces and stuff like that. Another example of Scribble putting some interesting things on their characters is this. At first glance, you may just be like, oh, whatever, it's some fetish shit. But if you look closely, you'll realize, oh, there's a heart symbol on the pacifier. What's that? Well, the symbol is a dog whistle, basically saying, oh, I'm into little girls. And this symbol is also another very pro-contact label for somebody who says, oh, I'm not pro-contact. These things can't consent. I wouldn't do that. You're putting a lot of pro-contact stuff in your art and your straw page, which I'm gonna get into. If you look at Scribble's straw page, it looks kind of normal, right? Until you read this. At first glance, you may be like, oh, that's somewhat normal. Oh, what are those symbols? Well, we're gonna look those up. Well, what is this? Yeah, what's that? Zoophilia is pretty self-explanatory. I also didn't circle the yap because I didn't really see it originally, but yap means youth attracted person or something like that, and usually means not necessarily that you're attracted to kids, but you're attracted to very younger people, which could be a red flag. A lot of people also won't know what BS-tophile means. I don't know how to say that. They might not know what that means. So let's do a quick Google search. Oh, yeah, basically means you're into rape. And again, these are very, very pro-contact labels. Usually stuff people would put in their bios, like this person, to not get into trouble or to, not get caught by the public eye. In summary, this person puts a lot of interesting things in their art and their straw page, and has said some very interesting things that are considered dangerous and could be considered dangerous, and that they also accept a lot of horrible people into their space who shouldn't be there. But yeah, let me know if I got any information wrong or if I missed anything. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments. Just please stay away from this person. Please. Don't harass them. Don't do all that. Just report and block.